got to enjoy, and the way this event was put on hasn't happened here in a while. I thought everything was frontline and first class. I thought the fans added such a touch to this. You could tell that the pitch-by-pitch following and the understanding of the game here is very unique. And some of you that haven't seen this sport all over the country may not quite understand what I mean by that, but our folks are passionate about every pitch. It shows up, it's consistent, the animals are A+. It adds to everybody's experience of this, and probably most importantly, the guys on the field playing the game. So very unique, happy we were able to do it, more to come. UCF is a deep, experienced, old, talented, well-equipped pitching staff, as well as we've been pitched this year up and down the lineup. The sequencing of the pitches, the use of both sides of the plate, up, the secondary pitches, they really did a nice job. And those are some talented, good arms that they just kept running out there. We did enough today on the mound. Witt actually settled in, and you guys have followed. We have built him up, and that was right at that threshold of where we felt comfortable asking him to work at. So that's what we did there. Holtzy good. When he gets that breaking ball going, you have seen it. It can be very special. And some of the older good hitters sometimes seem like they can sit on that thing a little bit. I thought he did a good job. Johnny Abraham got him out there, and Joe had really good stuff at the end of the game. Clearly the game, and a lot of games revolve around the big inning. And there was nothing going on until the fifth inning for us, and their arms just completely held us in check. I could probably count on one hand the good at-bats prior to the fifth inning. And I think the second baseman was pretty deep. I think that started it. Did you get that? Yeah, into the shift, and they didn't handle it. And it went from there. Ferrer's double was big. Cam's home run obviously big. Max's 3-run home run, the exclamation point on this with some energy, and he really stepped on that. And I thought his base hit there with the bases loaded. Hit 2 outs. Yes, huge momentum, pendulum swinging at bat. Proud of the way he caught. Proud of the way the team played. It wasn't clean defensively. There were a couple things obviously that stood out there, but I thought the athleticism overcame some of the things that weren't as clean fundamentally. Low Deese's 2 plays you don't see. The play to end the game was really difficult. He made it look easy, and then the play earlier in the game where he went all the way in the 6th hole, almost behind the third baseman's deep depth, and made that throw. You just don't see that stuff. So really good. Ferrer's catch, the line drive that he extended and caught, the blocks behind the plate, the bunt defense where Holtz got off the mound, picked it up, and made a play at a critical time in the game. There was enough defense here. Wasn't flawless, but there was enough to kind of hold it in check. And my hat's off to Rich and his staff. They took over a program, and as that was happening, some of our players were in the process of landing here. So that's a difficult experience. It's his first time as a head coach. That product that they delivered on the field was very talented. They absolutely deserved to be here and gave us everything we could handle 2 games in a row. I know the score of this game, when you just look at it, probably doesn't reflect the difficulty of that game. That's a really good team, and Rich has done a fantastic job with this program.
Take questions, please.
Like just after last year, how much sweeter is this compared to getting the supers in the past? Just what you went through to get to this one.
Yeah, it's as bad as it gets. And I knew we had to make some roster maneuvers. It took one day to realize what we needed to do, looking ahead to try to deepen the roster, gain some experience, become more athletic, cover the pitching staff with some depth and some left-handed arms. And so it was really tough. So as you're going through that, you better be recruiting right, and you better create a roster that you feel like puts you in this position. It's not easy. Rich had a hand in it. Chuck Restano had a hand in it. Brad had a hand in it. I had a hand in it. So as you're going through that, you're saying this cannot and will not happen again. Now, how do you solve it? Like, the only thing you can do is try to coach them the best you can last year, and then try to manage the roster and recruit. So this is great. I expected to do this. This is what I wanted to do. It's not easy. We talk about this all fall, all spring, into the season. to perform consistently with athletic, talented players gives you an opportunity to sit where we're sitting right now. That's what this is about. So last year, it was what it was. Not much we can do. Zero we can do. This is the attention getter now, and I'm proud. It's about them. They went and did this. We helped get them here. They went in and performed and executed.
Jaxson, what was the atmosphere like in the dugout right in the middle of that fifth inning? Because, UCF got out ahead early with that homer by Ziska, and you just kind of kept trying, just couldn't really get it to click, and then bottom of the fifth, just bang.
Well, I think what we do best as a team is respond, and Coach said that time and time again to the media, and you guys, it's pretty evident. You know what I mean? I was Max, the swing was huge. Cam had that huge at bat. I think I don't think we really flinched. You know what I mean? It was tough because they did such a good job executing on the mound, but that's what we do is we respond. So that's kind of our identity. And then once we got that kind of rolling, that ship kind of sailed. So I think just the answer was respond. That was the message.
Jaxson, local kid, everything talk about it, bringing kids back. You were part of that transfer group from Childs, regional winner now, obviously super ahead. But if you can kind of put that into words, how does that feel to be from the city and win it from the city?
Well, it's like, this is something that I grew up wanting to do, having the opportunity to come back and do this. Coach gets it, being from here, so you play with a little more on your chest being from here, you know what I mean? And having this fan base behind your back, and I was once one of those kids running around up there, animals telling me not to run and stuff, but it's pretty cool. It's amazing, it's a dream come true. I'm just trying to soak it up and enjoy every moment.
Like most of these guys haven't been in these moments, but it seemed like they showed a lot of composure through the weekend. What do you think has led to that?
When you know you're dealing with that, you put the emphasis on the execution of the details of the game. And if you do that over and over, this situation is no different than the first game of the year. Now, it may feel different, but the game doesn't know what's going on. It's expecting you to play the game properly. If you do that, you're going to be fine. So the messaging to a group that is not the most experienced team in terms of this setting and beyond is to keep it simple. And we talked about the same things in our pregame meeting, that bring your A stuff on the mound, field your position, intelligent, savvy defense, savvy thinking, less than two strike hitting, making the most of the base running opportunities, and when the short game is there, try to take advantage of it. That's it. And you keep doing that, and you keep going. And I think these situations become less stressful and dramatic if you can get them to focus on the execution and the game itself.
Brennen, Rich Wallace was in here. He said that he thought Link was the best coach in college baseball. You've been in college baseball for a while. You're a veteran. What makes him him?
I think it's pretty simple. He goes out there every day and he's consistent. It helps us become consistent as players. And when you have confidence in your coach, it's hard to really second guess anything he tries to tell you. And then, the guys he brings in, he does a good job recruiting. We get great players out of the portal and some high schoolers. And I think just the consistency, really, because the games are so up and down, especially right now. Like, we were down 2 for 5 innings, and we could have just rolled over and clammed up like an armadillo, but instead we decided we would battle back, and that's what he's told us all year. We got to respond. He said it 32 times. I listen to these after every game, and he says it every single time that something goes wrong and we respond. That's the first thing he says. And so, just having confidence in him and knowing that he's the guy that's going to hopefully bring the program to the pinnacle of college baseball.
Brennen, sorry, you had that scar tissue from last season. I know Coach probably told you that he's going to do everything he can to make this team better. And after last season, it probably wasn't hard to be better than last year, but did you expect to be this much better of a team than the Class 16 team standing?
Yes. I think there was a day this fall where we had a practice on a Sunday, sort of like today, and it was abysmal. We played a 3-inning scrimmage, and it was trash in every aspect of the game. And he sat us down in the dugout, and I'd never seen him so angry or upset at us. And when I saw that that's sort of the expectation he had, that one bad day was just not going to cut it because of the vision he had for this team, then I think we sort of all got behind that and said, if he thinks we can do it, he's been around a lot and all of us have, so he knows.
Jaxson, obviously you're from here, but how did Link and the staff convince you and Max and all these guys to buy into what they were trying to do?
Well, for me, it didn't take much convincing, obviously. Get to come home and eat what mom cooks every night and play at Florida State, one of the blue bloods of college baseball. It didn't take very much convincing to me. That was kind of, as soon as I hit the transfer portal, this was where I wanted to be, and knowing coach's character and stuff. There wasn't a guy I'd rather play for, so it didn't take much convincing to me, but hats off to them being able to get guys like Max and Alex Lodis and Daniel Kansu, all these guys, all these pieces that helped us get to where we are. That's what recruiting's all about. Just for me, it was just being able to come home.
Link, as a guy that grew up in this program, you were there for some of the great years. Do you allow yourself to feel rewarded for that atmosphere tonight, that atmosphere last night, how this city, how that crowd has embraced this team, and how it feels like it's kind of old Hauser again? Do you allow yourself to appreciate that right now?
It's hard for some reason. I'm focused on what's going on out there, and you think through what's coming next, and it's difficult for me to just sit there and soak it in. Now, the last out, it was the first time when we were in the position where you felt like, all right, we're one out away. I've had teams, like my Notre Dame guys, they were like, Coach, do we dogpile? Like, nobody wanted to ask me because you never want to pack up until this thing's over. So that was actually on my mind, and I didn't know whether I should say something to the dugout. This is not dogpile moment. This is business. You took care of business. Next week, there could be dogpile opportunity. Because, right? So I probably fail to enjoy this stuff as much as I should, but I'm here for one reason, and we're missing something over in that corner in that cabinet. That's why I'm here. And I look at this as a step in the right direction. I know what the team is about. I know the locker room. I know the program. I know the players that are coming in next year. I know what we might lose. It's hard for me to really throttle back and enjoy what happened. The fifth inning and the energy in the stands as that's happening, I love that. But I do a poor job of just sitting back and taking it all in. Now, there'll be a time when I do, but for whatever reason, I'm not at that point with it yet. I'm really proud. I'm proud, but I haven't gotten to that status with it yet for some reason. That's probably a weakness I have.
Brennen, I think the pitching staff allowed 7 earned runs in 3 games this week. I think the offense, understandably, it's a lot of attention on the team, but I guess what did the pitching staff prove this weekend with the 2 starts, your 2 closes, and then kind of piecing it together today?
I think it just shows that when we're performing at our best, we're a tough team to beat. I mean, when you've got Carson Dorsey going a near complete game on a Friday after throwing twice last weekend, I mean, that is always impressive, and that kind of set us up for the weekend. Then Jamie Arnold does what Jamie Arnold does, and then today it was an absolute dogfight. He came out on the right end.
Coach, Rich Wallace said that you took a chance on him back when you hired him on as your assistant. Seeing him grow and now seeing him take on the UCF program, what's the biggest difference in the Rich Wallace that you saw leave for Orlando versus the Rich Wallace that you saw in the other dugout tonight?
Well, when you build your staff at various institutions, you have to look at what the need is more on the recruiting side. So Notre Dame was a national recruiting challenge that required such a small percentage academically of players that you could actually recruit, and he had done that. So that is really, really important. Recruiting is different at the different schools you're at if you're going to do it right, and you don't have the flexibility to fail to get it right. So through the process, he clearly stood out in terms of that and his baseball IQ and sense and awareness of the game itself. I learned he was a fantastic bench coach, and you don't know that. I know Ty. I coach Ty. I know I've been with Brad, Micah. You figure that stuff out, but I knew far less about Rich when he got to Notre Dame, and tactician of the game, helped me through it, could take the information that I was trying to relay to the team, and he could verbatim run through it and knew the offense and the pitching and the defensive concepts that we had. And then you're in the fires. We were in some wars. You can look at where we had to go and what we had to do to win the league, to host. You should have hosted 2 years in a row. You get shafted. You're at Georgia Southern for this thing against Texas Tech, paired with Tennessee. There's some fires that you have to endure to get it right. So then I saw him grow through the toughness and the difficulties of handling all the things that come at you when you have a difficult road. That was not easy up there to find ways to Omaha from there, and he did and we did. And I press those guys. Like, I press the coaches. So there's an expectation I have of how they manage their roles, and I think that's part of my job. So when I have to talk to these athletic directors about these coaches, they check every box for me, and I can help them, and he did it 100%.
Go to Brett.
In the preseason, you guys flip-flopped Lodis and Thoreau. Just 4 months later, how much do you feel like that's paid off, and how much have you seen them grow as defenders?
When you do that, you have to ask yourself a couple questions. Like, who seems to fit the needs of that position best? And I gave them a lot of time each at short. I moved each of them to second. We fiddled around at third, not a lot. I didn't move Cam around a lot. I was trying to get him to understand and handle third, and I thought that was where he was suited. And Fisher, and there were other guys, Kamaka. We were moving them around, and you saw it. As I watched Thoreau handle the double play, pivots around the bag, I hadn't seen somebody that was that adept at using their feet and still adding the arm at the end. And I liked what I saw out of Lodis at shortstop. So when we got into it, that's where I landed with it. And was I right? It would look right now, but I'm not so sure you couldn't flip-flop it and still be okay. Then you've played a third of the season and haven't lost. So when do you start to make maneuvers to try things out? There's always something that's hanging over you, and I found that it was working, and I stuck with it. And I think the longer you play the positions, the more you understand it. When you just move somebody from short to second, I had to do it. I was completely lost at second base, totally lost. I ran the wrong way in AA games after ground balls. I'd break the wrong direction. Making that shift angle-wise was one of the hardest things I ever did as a player. So I felt like it was right. It looked right to me. And I thought both of them grew into being pretty competent at the position. They're young. They're still young. They've never been through something like this. So we're still growing. And the sky's the limit for those guys. That seemed what was right at the time for me to do it, and I did it.
Take the last question over here.
For both Brennen and Jaxson, we can hear the cheers from the locker room the entire press conference. With 26 new players, how have you guys really come such a close-knit family in such a short amount of time?
Guys like Ox, guys that have been around for a while, kind of take knuckleheads like me and keep us in check. No, I just think that Coach did a really good job of bringing guys in that had the vision of what culture we wanted to have here, which was win, and guys that showed up every day and their identity was baseball. You know what I mean? And just at the baseball field. I think with Daniel Cantu, I can't talk about him enough. Guys like that had that experience. Those guys have helped our team become what it is because of who they are and what they show up and do every day. So really, it was the foundation that the older guys set, and now that they're going to leave for guys like, hopefully Drew, myself, and Alex to carry on to the next guys, and that we'll keep on rolling, and then make this place a powerhouse again.
I think for me, it was getting the team together off the field. I mean, last year, you look at the team, and we didn't really hang out as much as I thought we should have and stuff like that. So, I thought from the second we got here that it was important to set a foundation off the field that, we got to like each other. You can't win games pulling against each other. So, we've had ourselves a long season now, and hopefully it keeps going. And so that gives us a lot of free time together. We've got no school. We like to hang out. We've got activities we do together. I mean, winning also helps. Like, that doesn't hurt anything at all. So I think just like, it's not hard to get 32 people to pull in the same direction. It's not. As long as you've got the right direction from the top, and that being them, and it just trickles down in the right way. If you've got the right pieces, like, people are going to get along, it's going to be fun, you're going to probably win some games, and it's going to be pretty good.
Any more questions? Last question.
Coach, Rick Wallace mentioned Jaxson and Danny Nearai's potential for people to get their names called in the draft. You coached them at Notre Dame. Just what have you seen from them from when you're coaching them and this weekend that you feel like that they would maybe get their names get called later this year?
Well, they're more physical. So it's been a little while, and you just keep watching Ziska get stronger. You watch him hit a ball over the lights, and the catching position is hard. He can attest to it. There's a lot that goes on, and Danny Nearai just caught 18 innings today, right? Did he catch the first game, right? That's not easy to do, and you see him grow into being a good receiver, a good blocker. He's athletic, he can throw, and it's a tough left-handed out. And he had, as a left-handed hitter, when you come and look at how many right-handed pitches did we actually throw in this thing? Not many. So they just grew into the game, and they're both athletic and capable, and they should get drafted. Now, not everybody that should does. I hope they do, and they earn their stripes.
Thanks, everybody. Gentlemen, thank you.